All right, welcome to the Quantum Life subscription group. I was inspired to do this video today for you guys just because it's been coming up like a rash around here and in all of the clients' lives. So I thought, you know what, we'll just jump in here. I got some time today and do a teaching and just kind of a talk about ways to kind of help us navigate through chaos, confusion, and indecision. Because as we ascend, we are literally becoming these fifth dimensional beings, and that is, it's instant. It's instant manifestation. It's instant knowing. It's instant feeling. It's instant connection. But in order for us to get to that point, we have to really learn to trust ourselves. And if we're going to trust ourselves, then we've got to face ourselves for all of the times that we haven't trusted ourselves, or we haven't shown up for ourselves, or we haven't, been in our own personal power, and we haven't been able to surrender to the right universal energies. You know, if you've been following my TICA classes or studying with me or following the videos, I've been talking a lot about surrender lately, a lot about surrender, and not surrendering your power over to another or a place or a job or a family member, but literally in a total release, surrendering the ability that you don't know what's going on to the universe, and being in that place of humility where you just can say, just help me out, universe. I don't know how I'm supposed to get to where I'm going. I just feel that I'm supposed to be going somewhere. And you might be changing your mind every day. You might want this today and this tomorrow, and then you're confused by that because you've always been able to know what you wanted, or you've always been able to follow through things, and now you can't. And that's what's happening is you're being pulled into the direction of who your higher self has always been, which is someone, an energy that is in the constant present moment. And so what you're being tested actually for right now is to live in the present moment, no matter what is happening. Live in the present moment in chaos, in indecision, in conflict, and be with yourself instead of giving yourself away or running back on the timeline to remember another time where you've been in conflict and indecision, or trying to judge the future outcomes of what that could look like if you don't make a choice. And so we're having to even surrender to what the past means and what the future holds. And the way that I've come up with to kind of help us weather and find the eye of our storm in this is really about it's about balancing masculine and feminine energies. I just had a mind freeze. Masculine and feminine energies, and what those two things represent for us. Because again, what you'll notice is in conflict, you have a natural reaction to either project your masculine or your feminine. And what we're supposed to be doing is in this conflict, in this confusion, in this indecision, we're supposed to bring the balance of ourselves to that table and look at that through the observer's eyes and decide with choice what we choose to do in the highest level of our excitement. And that will propel us, because we are needing to be balanced, because we're living in this duality. And this duality is basically the difference between light and dark. I was saying in Quantum Free that I just had this great session with my TICA student, Michelle, and we were talking about how she's been trained her whole life to see the bad, to play the devil's advocate, to look for the problems, to really find the problem. And that was like her job as an entrepreneur, was to seek out the problem. And so what's happened is her natural subconscious mind always would go towards the problem instead of the solution. And so the exercise that I gave her was, when she finds herself meeting her reality with that mindset, to stop, ground, take a deep breath, get into the present moment, and then find 10 ways to see that problem as an actual solution, or as an actual catalyst, or a propelling point, instead of a failure, instead of a conflict, instead of an issue, looking at something negative as a positive, and actually practicing that. Because until you practice your subconscious mind, you're not going to re-record over that neural pathway, and that neural pathway is never going to change, because you're hardwired for the problem, which means that you're going to attract the problem over and over again, because it's what you've been looking for. So how do we balance this energy? So first of all, what does the feminine energy represent? Well, we can go all the way from a positive to a negative, just like your birth sign. If someone says, oh gosh, you're a Gemini, depending on how they're looking at that, they could look at that negatively or they could look at that positively. You know, they could look at me as a Gemini and go, oh, you're flaky, you're indecisive, you're split personalities, you are manipulative. And on the positive side of that is, I know how to read people. I have a gypsy soul, which means that I'm always changing and growing. I can put myself in other people's shoes because I know how to be different aspects of myself. I'm very comfortable with my feminine and masculine energies. And so again, it's all how you're reading the dictation of the judgment that you've set. So again, I choose to look at myself as those positive aspects of a Gemini instead of the negative aspects of a Gemini, because both are technically true. You know, I could be considered one way or another, but the only consideration comes from how I see myself. And as long as I'm living from a place of integrity within myself, then I'm always going to see the positive side. So let's look at the feminine and masculine as the same way. So I could look at the feminine energy and I could say it's passive, it's submissive, it's a doormat, it's a healer, it's you know, it's a worry word, it's a someone who can't, you know, decide, someone who can't take action. Those would be on the shadow side of that feminine energy. Now on the positive side or the light side of feminine energy is, again, is healing, is divine inner strength, innate creativity, total expansiveness of the universe, co-creator, natural solution, seer, caretaker in a positive way, which means supportive, expansive in knowledge and wisdom, multidimensional. These are all aspects of the divine feminine. And the divine masculine, we could say, you know, is power hungry, is action driven, is limited mind, is black and white thinker. Or we could look at the masculine energy as adventurous, as groundbreaking, as behavior and action takers, truth seekers, solution seekers, builders. So you can look at, again, it's all how you're looking at the situation. And when you start to even look at the darkest places of duality with the right light expression, then you no longer have to suffer in duality. You actually can ride the wave, which is what we're being asked to do, is let go of attachments, totally surrender, live in the flow, see every positive as, every negative as a positive, finding the positive in the negative, and allowing that to be the catalyst that you needed, the little nugget that you needed in order to propel you, and moving with the understanding that everything that's showing up right now is completely perfect for your journey, for your own self-realization, from your own expansion, and from your own knowing. So that would be those two explanations of the divine feminine masculine. So how do we balance it? First of all, you pull from both aspects of yourself. Like, what do you bring to the table in your divine feminine energy? And what do you bring to the table through your divine masculine energy? And where do you need to balance? Because I can tell you, if you're in conflict right now, you're either being passive or you're being aggressive. So where is it about being balanced? So you can be balanced in your conflict, which means that what you could do is you could start to see that conflict from the other person's perspective. You could see this as break down, break through, like we're actually communicating for the first time, or I'm having to communicate, or I'm having to speak my truth, or I'm having to get out of the situation because it's so uncomfortable that I no longer want to be there. So you could look at conflict as a really positive resource right now. How can we look at confusion and balance our masculine and divine feminine? We can look at it as chaos is about deconstruction and reconstruction. It's about death and it's about birth. So anytime chaos is happening, then what is happening is confusion is going crazy so that clarity can come. So out of that storm is going to be a rainbow. And just know that if you can stay in the present moment and you can follow those nuggets of your highest excitement and you can seek You can seek your balance point where it's like, okay, I'm kind of feeling a little bit more on the masculine side. I'm being really aggressive. I need to back up and I need to listen, which would be the divine feminine. Or I need to be aggressive more. So where do I need to balance myself? So you could use that in chaos. And indecision. Indecision comes from limiting beliefs about that you're not allowed to have what you want, or I can't be what I want, or I can't create what I want, or someone won't let me do what I want, or I can't manifest what I want. That's where all indecision and lack of motivation comes. And so if you're feeling either one of those things, like, oh, undecided, I can guarantee you there's some false obligation somewhere hidden. So how could you take your divine masculine, your divine feminine, balance it, and then look at that decision and look at the choices that you actually need to make versus the ones that you think you should make? You know, where do you need to start stepping up and yet being very nurturing in your action? So that would be a perfect balance of someone who is really compassionate but speaking their truth. Someone who was driven by love and rebuilding something. That would be a total masculine and divine balance point. And that's something that that we're all being asked to do. Is if we're feeling like a shoe in the dryer right now and I don't know where I'm going, I even said it on Quantum Life, I think I wrote it, where you feel like you're having a change of mind and a change of heart constantly, or it's like, I'm really excited about this, and then tomorrow I'm really excited about this, and then tomorrow I'm really excited about this person, and then the next day you feel nothing. Then what you're doing is you're being led down all of these doors to get to know bits and pieces of yourself so you could collect yourself. And so if you're starting to judge yourself or worry that you don't know who you are and what's happening, this would be a great opportunity for you to just sit down and ground into the present moment, and say, where could I be more balanced? Where do I need to speak my truth? Where do I need to surrender? Where do I need to let go? Where do I need to let go of obligation? Where do I need to discipline myself, which would be a masculine aspect? And I don't mean discipline in a negative way, but like, I really need to get off sugar. That would be a discipline. Or I really need to sit down and do my meditation 15 minutes a day. That would be a discipline. That would not be a negative discipline. You know, a negative discipline would be, you know, I have to keep working at this job because I got to pay these bills. That would be negative discipline. So again, it's all about, in this conflict, in this indecision, and in this chaos of this now moment of April, which is what is just happening with all of us, is finding the balance point and finding the positive in the negative, like if you're on a treasure hunt. Like your job right now is to find the positives of your day that you just had, the positives of the conflict and argument that you just had, or the one that you're currently in, or the one that you're thinking about having later. And letting your mind just go, train yourself to see the good inside the bad, because if you can do that, you own duality and you become this master of your own vibration and frequency, and everything turns out to be perfect because you can find the positive in the negative. So hopefully this was helpful today. We're definitely going through it here, and you know, I love being able to just hop on and do these impromptu coachings, because I'm definitely going through the same process as well. And I will see you guys on Friday for our second live remote viewing class, and I hope you guys all had a chance to watch it because it was really, really fun for me. And I love you guys all, and the support that's been coming in has been amazing, and your testimonials and your emails about you know, where you were when we started and where you are now has been just, it's really helped me get through, you know, my chaos, my confusion, indecision. So you guys are doing awesome, and let's keep going. All right, so how's everyone doing in this new January energy? It's pushing you, isn't it? It's forcing you into realizing who you really are at every different angle, right? Self-realization is coming strong and it's coming mighty, and I know it's hitting me in waves. I've not had to deal with so many body problems. Your ego will soften when you do clairvoyant shadow work, because it won't be in the shadow anymore. The only time your ego is powerful is when it's hidden. When it's out there in the front, it's not scary.
So expose it.
Expose it.
Okay.
Shine the light on it. Enlightenment, right? Lighten up. Enlightenment. Shine light on your own darkness. That's what enlightenment means. So just expose it. Just be like, wow, I'm in my ego right now. I've said that lots of times. Whoa, hold on. Ego speaking, not me. Need to check myself before I wreck myself. But I do it very, very differently than anybody else. Because I do it from a quantum perspective. And quantum means all. And I am going to encompass every factor about the home. So most psychics are going to walk into your home and they're going to look for non-physical residue energy that is vibrating at a low, dense level that needs to be removed. Well, I have a secret for you. And your house is a reflection of you. So your job is to actually tell that same story as if higher self was telling it. Okay. It would be a totally different version. Gotcha. You would go from victim to victor. Like, I'm totally recreating this so that I can see where I still don't love myself, and I'm so grateful for myself that I keep recreating this, because what I'm doing is I am getting stronger. You see, every single story that you've ever told could be told by the other version. And Frank and I are working on getting the first chapter done. Right, Frank? Frank?
Yes.
Well, and some of you guys, maybe not in this group, but there's a lot of people who've forgotten how to play. You know, and so that's the importance of having that on your resume, is that you can remind people how to play. Yeah. You know? Yeah. That would, yes, anyone in here who's wanting to manifest money, what you're really wanting is freedom, right? So go be free. Don't go home and do crap you don't want to do. And start moment by moment by moment by moment by moment by moment by moment for 7 days, and let me see who you guys are next week. Okay? All right. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for all coming tonight.